Welcome everybody to tasting number 100. Woo!
Woo!
I was gonna actually get like those poppers, you know, that you shoot up in the air, but the day turned out to be crazier than I expected. So
You want to clean that up later?
didn't make it out of the shop, but pretty exciting. We made it. 100 tastings is quite the feat. So, and we're moving rather quickly. As you've noticed, we have almost tastings every week coming up. So lots of exciting whiskey times to come, which is a lot of fun. But tonight we are going to focus on rye. We have focused on rye quite a bit in the last couple of years. We didn't focus on rye for the first few years of the club. We had maybe 1 or 2 tastings at most that focused on rye, but rye is definitely making its moves in the whiskey world here in the US. And it's such a fun category to explore. You know, we have a lot of customers who come in here and they have this, you know, thought that rye only has this one flavor profile, and it's totally wrong. And it's a lot of fun to change their mind. And you know, some of you have tasted our toasted rye. I mean, talk about an unusual flavor profile for a 95% rye. You know, so rye can be a lot of different things. And tonight we're going to explore 7 different rye whiskeys. So we have quite the journey in front of us. All bottles that were obtained both personally and through the store. But we do have a scorecard, so let's do that. If you can remember, it's online. And I don't think we have any new members joining us for this tasting. I know we have some new members coming up next week with Milk and Honey and after that as well. So I don't need to go into scoring. You all pretty much know how that works at this point, which is great. But try and do it if you can. Especially when we're doing, a tasting that's focused on one specific type of grain. It's really kind of fun to see how the scores vary. But
hey, Charles,
yeah.
Sometimes it takes me a day or 2 to get the scores
that's fine.
in. Is that?
It takes me weeks to tabulate. So
sometimes even years.
Sometimes years and months. Thanks, Shalom.
Anytime.
So we're going to start out actually in Kentucky. We had a visit to New Riff in November with one of my tours that I had last fall. And actually a couple of years prior to that, I was at New Riff with Jan. We were heading down to Kentucky for, it was the 2019 Bourbon Trail Tour in May, and we stopped at New Riff, and I was working with them on getting our club barrel going, and they were really nice to us, and they let us into one of their back kind of conference rooms and let us try their malted rye a couple years before it even came out. And you know, it was really one of the first, it was the first 100% malted rye whiskey that I had ever tasted. And this was when it was about 4 years old or so.
Green.
And so now it's available. When I was there in November, it was only available in Kentucky at the time. So I did grab a couple of bottles, but now it is here in New York. We even have this in the store still, which I'm actually quite surprised. Because it's one of my favorite rye whiskeys. So we went in November, we did the tour, we ended up in their bar, which is where they do their tasting at the end of the tour. And we tasted a number of different expressions, including this malted rye. And that was actually the first time I had tasted the actual bottled expression at 6 years of age. And I have to say, at the time, and I'm going to taste it again tonight, it was the best New Riff that I had tasted up to this point. So This one is a straight, you know, it's 95% rye, 5% malted barley. It is, oh, excuse me. No, this one is not
This is
that. It's
100% malted rye.
malted rye. Sorry. It's 100%. So there's no barley at all in this. Let me just take a look here. I was just looking at my new Riff notes, and that's where that came from. Thanks, Holly.
That's the regular release.
Yeah, that's the regular release.
I wouldn't put a limited edition on there.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. Yeah, so it's pretty unusual that you have malted rye. Now we're starting to see more of it. You know, some of you were with us when we did the Stauning Danish tasting. We did a malted rye. That was 70% malted rye. So that wasn't 100% malted rye. But it definitely takes away some of that traditional spice component, but adds this creaminess that I really enjoy. But let's see how this is. So cheers, everybody. Here's to tasting number 100 for the Saratoga Whiskey Club. Pretty exciting to be here with you guys tonight.
Cheers. So Charles, I had a question. So some of the New Riff we've had before was distilled at MGPD and matured at New Riff, but this is actually distilled at New Riff, correct?
Yes, this is their own juice, as well as our single barrel that we did last year. Yeah, this is 6 years in of their stuff.
What's the ABV?
50%. So pretty much, you know, everything of their standard line, you know, their bottled and bond, all of that is 50%. So
Wow, this is
delicious.
start.
It's lovely.
yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
I get a lot of caraway and licorice, and I'll be over for that corned beef, Vinny. It's okay. It'll go very well with this.
Yeah, I mean, I got very subtle rye spice, but I do get barbecued meats on the nose, but then I get
I get the meats.
flowers and cherries on the.
That's
on
it,
the palate.
flowers and cherries, that's what I got. And something baked,
and then
maybe
that-
that's the maltiness, something baked.
And then the finish is long and creamy. It
Yeah.
really coats your mouth. This is lovely.
Yeah, it's a beautiful whiskey.
Buy a bottle.
You know, New Riff they haven't missed, you know, whether it's their bourbons or their ryes. Even their single barrel ryes are fantastic. And, you know, our club bourbon was just superb.
Yeah, I wish I had more. I mean, it looks like I'll be picking up another bottle. This is awesome.
Like the good ones you got to get two of.
Yeah, so this one is $69.99. So you know, and it's fairly limited. It's not something that I'm sure we're going to be able to get much more of. It's
7 year or 8 year, probably 8 year.
and
You have this at the store right now?
yeah, we have some. Yeah, we have a few more bottles.
Jan didn't buy them all?
Jan already came in and got some earlier.
Yeah, buddy, I'm on top of my game here, and I already had it. It's really, really good. So good.
How many are there in the back?
I have 2 shilling, by the way. Yeah, because I know I'm gonna be very disappointed when I finish it and I don't have another one. So
You know, one of the things, like when we do have bottles here in the store, if you want them like during a tasting or after a tasting, the best way is just order online and choose pickup. That way it takes it out of our system, and you know, we can't really hold bottles for people because they're still available online. You know, we can put a bottle in the back, but we can't really remove it from our online inventory. So that's the way to do it if you really want it. How many are left?
That's it.
2.
2?
Huh,
Just two bottles left at this point.
I just snagged one.
I was gonna say, let the races begin.
Too late.
Got it.
You don't know how to use your shopping bag.
Yeah, because people are ordering right now.
Check in. No.
Hey, I got the bottle. I don't want to screw somebody
Go,
else up.
go, go, go.
Got to be in it to win it.
Just forget it.
We'll try and get more because we want more. It's so good. So we're gonna do what we can to get more. It's really good though. This is, I love starting with this too because it was so,
I just found a pin that matches my
so
jacket.
great. I bought bottles in November because I wasn't sure if New York was even gonna get them. So I was pretty surprised when we got them about a month ago.
I would say save one for this. Okay.
What do you like? You wanna find out? Get a drink.
But just so that, you know, those people who don't know, New Riff, 2014 is when they started. You know, they are a quote unquote new riff on an old tradition. That's their slogan. You know, they were OKI beforehand. They own a massive liquor store, or the owners owned a massive liquor store next door called the Party Source. You know, their bourbon is fantastic. You know, our barrel was really, really solid. Their traditional bourbon mash bill is 65 corn, 30 rye, and 5 malted barley. And their traditional rye mash bill is 95 rye
I know, right?
and 5 malted barley. Everything is at least 4 years old.
From my son all the way
Back
down.
to the inventory for it.
Well, 3 people don't want to bottle up.
It says there's 3.
They're right on the Ohio border, right on the river,
Did you sell a tasting one?
but a good spot.
One just sold online.
Oh, even better. See that?
Yeah, somebody ordered one.
All right, everybody good with the new riff?
Yeah.
Ready to move on? Yeah?
Going.
Okay. All right, now we're going to move on to a collaboration bottle. This is, I have not tasted this yet. I'm pretty excited to taste this. So a lot of you know George Dickel. We've had quite a bit of Dickel whiskey with the club. Well, not quite a bit, but we've had some. They're, you know, called now Cascade Hollow Distilling. They're in Tennessee. You know, Dickel is one of those brands that has been around a long time. And, you know, when you see source Tennessee bourbon that has an age statement of 10 plus years, you can pretty much assume that it's Dickel where it's coming from, because there's not a lot of other Tennessee bourbons out there that have been around that long. But Dickel, you know, has a certain flavor profile. I can pretty much pick out a Dickel taste profile pretty easily. It's definitely unique in its flavor profile. But they did this collaboration with Leopold Brothers. And Leopold Brothers is out of Colorado. They were really, you know, put on the map big time last year with the release of their 3-chamber rye. And the 3-chamber rye is made using a very old style of distilling, where it's using chamber pot stills that have to be monitored constantly. They're very old school, and they do have the ability to actually cause a fire and blow up. They're very sensitive to the distilling process. So it's not something you can just turn on and walk away from. You've got to be on top of these distillations quite closely. And it does give a unique flavor profile as well. It's kind of this old school flavor profile. Now we have in the shop, we have their 3-chamber rye, which came out last year, and George Minnick or Fred Minnick and some of the other bourbon greats or Kentucky reviewers, you know, they had 3-chamber rye in their top 10 whiskeys of last year, and really put Leopold Brothers on the map. Very expensive bottle. That was a $250 bottle, the 3-chamber rye. So, you know, part of that comes from the difficult process of making it, also the uniqueness and the rarity and all of that, and the fact that they're kind of this newer up and coming distillery out of Colorado. We were able to get a single barrel of their bourbon here in the shop. It is quite unique. It's not your traditional Kentucky bourbon. It definitely has a lot of different bourbon notes to it, even though it is a corn, you know, whiskey. But But George Dickel decided to do a collaboration with Leopold Brothers. Pretty cool story. Makes up the backbone of this. I'll read a little bit here about it. It says, Todd Leopold, the master distiller of Leopold Brothers, had an idea for a new rye product that required column distilled rye. He called George Dickel's master distiller, Nicole Austin, to see if she knew where he could get his hands on some. And it just so happens they were quietly developing one. The collaboration between the two companies was born. According to Nicole Austin on George Dickel's website, the thing that makes this collaboration special is there is a reason and a context for it to exist that goes way beyond our friendship. There is a historical context for this whiskey. It's really a resurrection of a lost style. Collaborations in spirits are quite rare, particularly in the whiskey space. The label states that this is the inaugural release, signaling additional releases are possible. So this came out extremely allocated. We were able to get our hands on what we could, which was about a case or 12 bottles was in their case. And we still have a few, but this is, you know, one of those that it's only going to be around and then it's gone. So let's see what this tastes like.
Charles, the label says George Dickel column still.
Yes, so
And then
at Dickel, they use the
pre-chamber.
column still, and at Leopold Brothers, they use the chamber pot stills. So it's a combination of both.
It's a collaboration and they distill at both distilleries and then
Yes.
marry them.
Yes,
Hmm.
and it's hold on a second here.
Who's the ABV?
So it's it's an undisclosed blend of George Dickel and Leopold Brothers. So they don't say how much of each. But we do know that the Leopold mash bill is 80% Abruzzi rye, which is the rye that they use at Leopold. And actually in our bourbon, the Abruzzi makes up 19%, or no, 21% is in our bourbon. And then 20% is Leopold floor malt. So it's actually their own floor malted barley. But we don't know how much of each is in this.
And what is the ABV?
The ABV on this one is also 50%. So
Thank
just
you.
like the last one.
I have two of the new.
I snagged the bottle of that new Riff, as you said, online. I think I got the bottle.
I
Mhm.
stirred it out.
It's done.
Ooh, that's close.
Yeah,
This is-
we're out of the new Riff. Just FYI, no more. no
And the
more
rich,
Made it
and the
through.
rich get richer.
We'll probably order more though, so, or we'll try to. We'll see if we can.
Tasting's been a hit on your store.
I'm glad you guys get it versus the regular, you know,
Yep.
people. So
Well, this one is incredible, and I love that the Leopold bourbon that I have here too. This is just, wow.
And this way we'll be able to kill the bottle at Vinnie's house.
There you go.
Yeah, depends on how much of it is left by the time you guys get it.
Hey, Vin, just make sure you grab another bottle.
There isn't any. I think I only got the one bottle. Just grabbed it.
In terms of George Dickel rye, I think I read last year, the year before, that they were having MGP contract distill it for them, and they were shipping the Tennessee charcoal to Indiana so they could sort of a Claremont County process for the rye there.
yeah, I don't know, Peter, if that's the case with whatever whiskey they contributed to this.
Oh, it's more recent than 6 years,
Okay,
so it would not be on this particular one.
yeah, there's no age statement on this
Oh,
at all.
sorry, new Riff was aged. Never mind.
They may,
Filter when they get it back.
yeah,
But this, I can just keep.
I mean, Dickel's never made rye.
That was 6.
Yeah, so George Dickel traditionally sourced their rye from MGP, filtered with their charcoal made of sugar maple wood and aging it in Tennessee.
So it's in Tennessee. and they're just-
It doesn't, it doesn't receive much attention from rye lovers.
State tree.
But that's probably going to change now with Nicole being the distiller there. Now they have their new column still rye in this collaboration. So actually, this is their own column still rye. This is not MGP.
Bigger lakes?
No, New York Distilling.
Oh, okay.
All right, what do you guys think of that one?
Incredible, yeah.
I thought of that when I-
Yeah, I got one perfume.
It's different. It's a more full body flavor on the palate than the new Riff, but I had a slight preference for the new Riff.
Okay.
I'm getting a little malt, cherries, very nice mouthfeel, good smooth finish. It's like a cherry syrup that lingers on the finish, on the palate, you know?
I've been to neck for.
So we've had a number of people buy this bottle because they wanted to taste some of the 3-chamber rye without paying $250 for a bottle, which is what their 3-chamber rye costs. So
I like it now.
I don't know what the percentage is again, so it's kind of hard to know.
Well, it's a blend of two.
No, I know, but we don't know how much 3-chamber,
Oh, yeah.
so what are we
What's the price
really
of this?
tasting? Is it mostly Dickel or is it,
Well, you could definitely pick up the Dickel note on the nose, really.
you can pick the Dickel?
Oh, yeah.
Well, see, I can get more Dickel on bourbons than I can with the rye.
This one,
What is that? Just-
Hey, John, get your head out of your butt.
somebody laughing at so we keep saying Dickel.
Dick the nickel. Don't dick the pickle.
Leave it to John.
Oh,
I just heard that snarky laugh in the background. I was like, how many times can we say Dickel without laughing?
Yeah. You say Dickel, you got to drink.
How much is this pickle?
Hey, John, I appreciate you taking some of the heat off me on that one.
I think it's $110, John.
Yeah, 109.99 is this one. Again, very allocated. We can only get a case of it, so. I think it's going for a lot more in other stores, but
Yep.
Well, in my opinion, I had put in some water because it was just very hot in my mouth. Not hot, more very big, spicy heat in my mouth. Not different type of heat.
all right, now you're gonna get us really into trouble, man. Let's,
I didn't know Holly was still there.
Put the mute on, Peter.
I was going to encourage you and Vinny to keep speaking because we're not allowed to comment on the next whiskey.
No, we're not.
No.
yes. So anybody from Brooklyn has no ability to contribute any sort of
No,
tasting notes, conversation,
all right.
anything about this next whiskey, but
No pizza pairing?
An apple tree grows in.
In your backyard, give me a break. Okay.
we'll spend one more minute on Dickel.
I think Anne actually wanted to say when she added water to the 3-chamber, it
Didn't
wiped
do
it
much.
totally out.
Yeah.
Didn't like it at all with water.
No. Oh,
So adding
anyway,
water made it worse?
yeah.
How much water did you put in?
16 ounces.
It says 1 milliliter on the side of the dropper.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Yes, for sure. That's what this is all about, right? We all have
So you're saying the water made it go limp?
Limp Dickel.
all right.
With ice cold water.
I can remove people from these tastings too. This just because we're at tasting number 100 doesn't mean it needs to go south.
You can mute people, Charles.
I can mute. I can remove as well. So
So far, we're 2 in, and 100 is very special.
Good. Oh, Holly just joined us. She must be driving home. She joined us from a car. She just left the shop, so she must be on her phone.
Hope she's not tasting.
Yeah, I know.
Before she left.
Wow, what's over there?
Okay,
There
all
are
right, we're
comments
gonna
about-
move.
Dark where Holly's driving
All
too.
these comments about being only 2 in so far and having this kind of behavior. Just think if the Dickel was last.
Oh, Lord.
I think he's gonna get visited a few
All right,
times.
enough.
Okay, in that case, I won't say you could have saved a
All
little.
right, we're gonna move on to number 3. We're gonna move on to number 3. We're gonna get off of the Dickel. And we're gonna move on to number 3. So we're going to Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. Hey, we haven't given them love in a little bit, but we're going to this one that Shalom quickly pointed out today that I had incorrect on the placemat. This is actually SMWS R 3.2, not 2.3. So if you want to go ahead and cross that out, I wasn't gonna resend an email out and make people print all over.
It's actually RW, because R is a rum.
Yeah,
RW is rye
sorry,
whiskey.
RW 3.2. Wow, even 2 mistakes. Okay. This one is called Brooklyn Apple Pie. That's the only time tonight we're going to mention Brooklyn.
And it's the one time that'll be a welcome mention after all that Dickel.
Okay.
This pairs quite well with an L&B Spumoni garden slice.
All right. Before we get on to Spumoni and all that stuff, we're gonna talk about New York Distilling Company. So I don't know if any of you've been to the distillery. I went a number of years ago. It's right in Brooklyn, and it is a pretty cool spot. Alan Katz is one of the founders of Brooklyn or New York Distilling Company, and they are known for their ryes for sure. They have a ragtime rye, which has been very popular. They do a lot of other things as well. They do a gin, but they have a rockin' rye, which is like a
Over 100?
it's like a cocktail in a bottle. It's got some rock candy sugar and sour cherries in it. It's actually rockin' rye, so it's
112.8.
it is like a cocktail. Then they have their ragtime rye. They have it both bottled in bond and American straight whiskey. They also have some other finishes to their ryes. But I was pretty impressed when I went there. I actually met with Alan. They're doing it the right way. They're using Empire rye. So, you know, as a category in New York State, there is this whole movement towards Empire, you know, produced grains. So we have our ryes here in New York. So it is a unique flavor profile for New York that they're trying to make known throughout the world. I'll read a little bit about this one. This one's called Brooklyn Apple Pie. It's pretty high in ABV. It's 56.4.
None of this is.
The cask of this is a refill Applejack barrel. Okay, so that's where the apple pie is coming from. It's definitely, you know, going to have those notes. We had 132 bottles here in the U.S. It was only 1 bottle per member of the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. And it was $75 plus, you know, their tax and shipping. I'll read the notes on this one because they always have a lot of fun notes. Following 3 years in a new charred oak barrel, this rye has been additionally matured in an Applejack barrel. It benefits from time in the glass to develop the aromas. Notes of spiced apple chutney, calvados, and overripe fruits give way to cherries, berries, cloves, and cinnamon. A hot, fruity, and dry explosion of taste suggests old-fashioned apple pie, cloves, and vanilla pods with a hint of fresh herbs. Adding water brings out more herbal and fresh aromas. There's lemon, mint, a hint of aniseed, cola, and woody spices. It's spicy, sweet, and smooth to taste with herbs, hints of charred wood, menthol, and cloudy cider. The drying finish is a decent length with gentle tannin. The mash bill is 72% rye, 16% corn, and 12% malted barley. So that's actually quite a high malted barley content for a rye. You don't see that too often. And it is, it's got the corn in it too. So it's probably got the sweetness of both the Applejack and the corn mixed in. I haven't tasted this yet, so
I'm assuming this is so better.
It's really nice. John, I agree with your comment that even though it's higher ABV, it is smoother and softer than the first two. And
I
it may
think
be
that
malted
probably
barley.
comes from the barley and the corn.
I think it's that malted barley.
Yeah,
It's all about the apples in this one. I really get
yeah,
it.
it's a really nice dram.
This is surprisingly delicious. I mean, I've had the regular rye from them, and I wasn't that impressed. This is lovely. And sometimes the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society can be pricey. Now, unfortunately, this is sold out, but this was only $75 when it was new.
yeah, I bought this a while ago. I don't remember when, but it was quite a while ago. Which I do occasionally. I have a collection of Scotch Malt Whiskey Society bottles that are sitting in the back.
This is quite good. I
Yeah.
have to say, their gins are also very good. They have a number of different gins, all of which are excellent too. It's a good distillery.
Yeah,
They know what they're doing.
they're doing a great job.
Any mention on where they're getting their Applejack barley from?
Probably Laird's, I would think.
I have no idea. It doesn't say.
They do have. I mean, I would bet it's Laird's because
Okay.
the people at Laird's are pretty
Water does.
communal in a sense of part of an American distillery community that's centered around Brooklyn, et cetera.
It changed the nose.
Laird's is not in New York State.
So the Applejack barrel, I'm just trying to figure it out here, is from Black Dirt Distillery in New
Oh,
York.
Yeah, I
yeah,
was-
that's.
I was thinking that it'd probably be something from New York State to keep the New York sourcing.
It's gonna change.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what type of Applejack or what type of apples Black Dirt uses.
I do get the Calvados notes because I'm a big fan of Calvados. Probably
Even
next-
Applejack
Next
Crest,
thing I
yeah.
really like.
Black Dirt.
And yeah, it's awesome.
We have their Applejack.
Definitely opens it up.
We have
I have Laird's Applejack. I use it.
from Black Dirt, but I get a lot of menthol and
Yeah.
mint.
Minty, yeah.
And long after.
This is
Yeah,
fun.
this is
I like
quite
it.
spectacular.
It's getting better with each sip too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charles, I am not going to mention Kings County, but with a whiskey, US whiskey, it can be totally in used cooperage. It doesn't have to spend any time at all in a new barrel.
Well, this one did. It was in a new charred barrel for 3 years.
Okay, so it was just finished in the
Yeah.
Applejack.
Yes, finished for 1 year in Applejack.
Oh, okay, I missed that, sorry.
Yep.
Does the distillery produce any Applejack cask finish now?
Yes, they do. They have a, it's called, they have a ragtime rye that's finished in Applejack from Black Dirt, but it's not, it's not a single barrel like this is.
It's good.
And I think Shalom maybe said it doesn't taste anything like this.
It's 50% ABV. It's 100 proof. It's actually probably pretty good, but it's a core product. It's not a single barrel. So I don't remember if I ever tasted it or not.
I don't think I had their Applejack one, but I've
Did we
had,
go there together, Shalom?
no, I had their stuff. I had a tasting of theirs in Buffalo when I was working out
I
there.
can't remember. I went with somebody. I can't remember who I went with.
Was it me?
No, we went to Widow Jane. I know that.
Yeah.
And Kings County. Oh no, I went to Kings County with Lisa. I don't know.
Matt Ferguson?
Oh, you know what? It was Matt Ferguson. Yeah, thanks. Yep. Boy, that was a long time ago.
In the room behind it is the washer and dryer stuff.
This is really spectacular.
It really is, I gotta say.
We do the laundry.
So the
I
bottle.
didn't read it. I figured if it says.
I'm sitting there. I'm trying to work, and all I can hear is clank, clank, clank.
I brought Peter a bottle of our black dirt.
When you finish the table, then we'll.
I don't know if you can see it.
we'll talk. It'll be easy.
Yeah, whiskey stinks, but yeah,
Yeah.
That's the Applejack.
Well, black dirt.
That's the black dirt. I was trying to see if it says what kind of apples.
Too much for me. Empires.
thus it would be Empire Rye.
Right.
Granny apple.
Unless they're
That's
north
number
of
2,
five.
bottled and bond. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll drink that
Well,
next.
this was a bargain when you picked this up from the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. This is one of the best ryes I've had.
Oh, it's signed.
Pineapples?
Yeah,
That's why it was so.
that's what we have our fingers in.
All right, so
That's from,
I don't want to move too fast.
They got 2 bottles out of this?
Yeah, but there were only half of that in the US. There were only 132 bottles available in the US of that last one. Okay,
Brooklyn's the best.
all right, we're gonna go now to the opposite side of the USA. We're gonna go all the way out to just outside of Seattle. John and I went and visited the distillery back last summer in July. This is Woodinville. We've seen Woodinville now here in New York, mostly just in the last year. A week ago, Holly and I had a meeting with, there's a couple that runs the marketing and food and beverage program for NYRA at the track. And we met with them here at the shop. And I was shocked that, you know, last summer they were able to get Woodinville to be their major sponsor at the track. And
That's all I was drinking when I was there.
Yeah,
Was the
and,
83
you know,
club and in the club over there, the private club.
Yeah.
And that's what I drank all day.
yeah, and I mean,
Awesome.
in general, New Yorkers didn't know much about Woodinville. So it was a really big and bold move for this Northwestern distillery, which is pretty small, to come out to New York State and be the main sponsor for NYRA at the track at Saratoga. You know, I remember when John and I were out there and talking to them. I mean, they're super nice people. They're doing it the right way. It's a distillery that was designed and developed by Dave Pickerel, who many of us have heard of before. You know, he's the one behind Whistle Pig and Hill Rock and many other distilleries that we're familiar with. But you know, they get all of their grain from Washington State, so it's all basically local. You know, they do a small production every day. It's the last time I looked, it was 7 barrels of whiskey a day. So you know, we're not talking Heaven Hill or, you know, Maker's Mark or anything like that. Their primary mash bill for their bourbon is 72 corn, 22 rye, 6% malted barley. But tonight we're doing an exclusive that was only available at the distillery. I bought this last July. I held on to it. I wasn't sure when I was going to use it. I do remember tasting it and just going, wow, this is really fantastic at Cask Strength. And so this is their 100% rye whiskey. You cannot get this here in New York. This is not something that's available, but this is Cask Strength Rye. So if you're going to get the best expression of what their true rye is coming out of their distillery, this would be it, because there's no finish on this. There's no anything. This is just 100% rye. It's 116.62 proof. So we're up a little bit more than the last one, 58.31%. Again, it was exclusive to buy only there. I only got 1 bottle. So what I'm drinking.
I got a
tonight-
bottle.
Oh, well, John's got a bottle, but what I'm drinking with you tonight is all I have.
The age on this, 5 years?
There is no age statement on the bottle itself.
Because on their website, I was on there poking around their wesite today. It says their cask strength distillery exclusive is 5 years, but maybe
Okay,
that's,
well, maybe
but
that's,
maybe that's their new release because it's a different ABV also, right? Because
yeah, well, I would assume this is at least that too. I mean, they've been around long enough now that, you know, I would assume all of their whiskey is at least 4 or 5 years old, minimum.
What was ABV on that?
This one is up there. It's 116.62 proof.
Yeah, so over 58.
Yeah, 58.31.
At least we're going in the right direction.
This one doesn't strike me nearly as hot as the last one we had.
Okay.
So much
Really?
smoother.
really, this one seems
No,
hotter.
no,
to
no,
me.
no. I think you're talking about the two previous ones. The last one was not hot.
This one
I don't know. To me, it felt like it.
I mean, this one, I like it. It's got this sort of a spice of, what's the that candy, a red hot.
Yeah.
No, I know.
I get a lot of apples on the nose, green apples on the nose. I don't taste the green apples on the palate, but I mean, I think it's a really lovely rye, and I like the spice in it. I like the heat, but you know, to me, I have, my sense is very different than yours in terms of the heat of this one compared to the last one.
Yeah, this one tastes hotter to me than all the others. It's basically just rye notes. It's actually more subtle rye notes than some of the other ryes I've had too. So
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with Luke's comment too. I mean, it's not a harsh heat, but it's, you know, it's not quite as smooth as I thought the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society.
It's real good. I wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah, so this is, you know, again, this is their true expression out of Woodinville. And, you know, we did in the calendar, some of you might remember Christmas Eve was the port cask finish bourbon. That was our last whiskey in the calendar. I really like Woodinville. I think they're doing really great things.
The rice spice versus
We're
the heat.
gonna try and do a single barrel with them this year, which would be great. And you know, definitely one of the ones on the West Coast to follow closely, because I think, you know, as time goes on, they're gonna just get harder to get and get better as well. So
I just hope that the heat goes away quick. Because the spice will always stay long, well, almost always stay longer. But when there's enough ABV, it sticks around long enough, you know. It's hard for me to break it apart.
and I've had more of their bourbons than I've had their rye. In general, you don't see a lot of the rye
Wow.
as much.
Don't do it.
No.
Don't do water. No. It knocked it down for me.
I believe the rye is also all from Washington State, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe all their grain is from Washington. Yeah.
For these pours, it's only
Right. What was the cost of that? I don't remember if you said it.
You know, I don't remember totally. It was around $70, I believe, 60 some dollars, maybe 65, 70, somewhere in that range. Generally in Washington State, liquor is more expensive than the rest of the country. They have really high taxes in Washington State for booze. They also have a really hard time getting decent whiskey sent to them. They make some great stuff, so that's good for them. But it's pretty hard to get a lot of stuff that we get here in New York. So we're lucky with that. We did talk, actually, Holly, yesterday, I think it was, talked to another boutique whiskey shop that's becoming, I don't know, getting known a little bit. They're similar to us. It's a couple that I guess he was in the military for many, many years and decided to do something that was less intense or whatever, and open this incredible, and loved independent bottling, so opened this whiskey shop in up in northern Seattle in the Spokane area, or northern Washington in the Spokane area, and So Holly spoke to them yesterday, and we might actually do a collaboration barrel with them, which would be a lot of fun. You know, we're trying to connect with some of the other top whiskey shops around the country and create, you know, a network of collaboration, you know, similar to these distilleries that are working together. Why not have shops working together on different parts of the coasts and, you know, getting access to barrels that we might not be able to buy by ourselves. So pretty cool stuff. I'm not going to tell you the name of the store though, because I don't want you ordering anything from them. I'm just kidding. They don't have a website, so.
Yeah, they don't have any product either.
Up there.
Let's see.
No, they're really nice people.
Let's search. Military.
And they've reached out to us when we opened. They were very excited that we were opening. They kind of actually, they're in a way, you know, they admire what we're doing, and likewise, I'm excited for them too. So it's fun. It's fun when that happens.
Mm.
All right, what do you guys think of Woodinville? Yay, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
That was my least favorite of the night so far. though.
Oh, shut up, Shalom.
You know, you asked what we thought. I'm just giving you my honest opinion.
But when we're talking least
I asked
favorite,
everybody else what they thought.
Shalom, Dickel talking.
least favorite of pretty stellar whiskeys though, so
That's correct. It's
I-
not.
I
It's a very good whiskey.
really,
It's just. It's
a lot of competition tonight. A lot
not
of
a tough competition. It's number 4 out of 4 fantastic whiskeys. What can I say?
Okay,
Yeah, I don't know that.
we'll let you back
I love
in.
the nose on this one. This was by far my favorite nose of the 4.
Wait, this one or the one we're gonna go on to?
This no, the one that we just finished, the Woodinville.
The Woodville had a really good nose on it.
Yeah, it did.
Now, don't do what I did, put a drop of water in it. The nose went right away, which is odd.
You know, I go back to the George Dickel, you know, just nose your empty glass. It's pretty amazing.
Which one is it?
I don't know. We got
Number 2, right?
we got
Oh,
9
yeah.
glasses up there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Lots of like grass, hay, and oats, and
Barbecue.
yeah,
Barbecue.
umami.
Mm.
Yeah, I get the barbecue.
Soy sauce.
What?
All right, so we're gonna move on. I
God.
don't want to go too fast. I know we're kind of
I got the soy sauce. I got that. Yes.
all right.
totally.
Umami. There you go. All right, so we're gonna go now to. We're going back to a distillery that I went to a few times last year, and we've done a number of different bottles now from them, but we haven't done a rye. And I didn't buy a rye the first time I went to this distillery with Holly back in May last year. But when I was there in October, I did do a hand fill of the only barrel of rye that they had. Yep, David and Diane, we were there together. I saw you shaking your heads. Yes, you remember that. So this is one that we filled, or I filled, you know, myself. They actually call their rye the whiskey thief. You do use a thief to pull the whiskey out of the barrel. This one is a very interesting mash bill. So this is not your traditional rye by any means. This is 66% rye, 29 corn, and 5 barley.
It's gonna be hot.
So, and then this one is also 59% ABV. So just a little bit higher than our last one. 118 proof.
This is the same barrel that we
Yes.
picked in November too, right?
It was available in November, yes.
Right. Yeah. Why did I sign up for this? I have most of these
What did you?
trips.
You said the ABV was 59.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
How much?
Charles,
is Charles?
Does the hand pulling make any difference or?
It's fun.
Other than the fact that there's pieces of barrel in the glass, you know.
Well, it depends on how far you stick your teeth in.
Yeah. Yeah, don't listen to Jan. We're not going back. We're not going back to Dickel.
Put a bong in it, Jan.
I'm sorry?
I'm putting
Bung in.
myself back on mute.
Put a bung in it.
Sorry.
It's funny, Charles, it's funny, is now that I'm tasting this, we haven't opened up our bottles that we got ourselves yet, but this brings back all the memories.
Oh, nice. Did you get a rye one as
We
well?
got a rye and a bourbon. Yep.
There's
That was
little
very-
bits of charcoal in my glass too.
Are there? Good.
Yep.
So you got the tail end.
Yeah, so there's not an age on this. There might have been an age on the chalkboard. I don't remember. I'd have to go look back at my gallery here.
Well, partly is a very unique, 'cause even with this, I'm getting some apples. Usually with the rye, I'm always going toward the cherry. Nice, very smooth.
This is really smooth, yeah.
That's good. I'm surprised even with the corn, the highest corn that it was.
Not as hot as I thought it would be.
Right, I thought it was
A
gonna be
little
hot.
spice on the back of the palate.
Yeah, I would have thought.
It's got a hot nose, but the palate is.
Yeah, I don't have an age on this. I was looking back in my photos and
118.
Do they usually put the age up on there?
they do, but I had already moved that photo.
Is that their juice too?
Uncut, unfiltered.
This-
I don't think
This
so.
is also a really fun place to visit. It's a little hole in the wall that doesn't, it's just a tiny little place that is,
Unfiltered.
you do a little barrel tasting.
Yeah, and their barrels are sourced. The ones that we pull from, these are not their own juice. They have access to barrels like a lot of these places do. And every time that I've been there, I've never seen anything in their mash tun or their washback or, you go there to fill your own bottle, basically, which is an experience that you can't get at most distilleries. And that's why you go there. They do get,
So with that unusual mash bill of 66% rye, and if it's sourced, you wouldn't have to know where they're getting that from? That's pretty
Okay.
unique.
It's an 8-year-old rye, 66%, 29 malted rye, 29% malted rye, and 5% malted barley.
no, that's a different one.
No.
It's a different one, John. That's not the one that Charles has.
Oh,
Bourbon.
No, it is the
That's what
one.
I had.
We just pulled up the chalkboard that they had.
Oh,
and
you
that's
know what? No.
exactly it.
My olfactory.
John is right. John is right. Sorry.
Yep.
See that?
It's 66% malt or rye, 29% malted rye,
Oh,
and 5% malted barley.
Oh,
the corn set me up.
I'm sorry. So John corrected me on that. I don't have the chalkboard. So I just have the numbers on the back of the bottle that have those numbers. I assumed it was corn, but it's not. It's malted rye. I do remember that now. My bad. Sorry about that.
Weren't these guys bought too? They're not
Yes.
privately owned anymore.
Yeah. Well, no, they're still privately owned
But they're owned
by
by
another person.
Yeah, all right.
It could be that it's the fifth dram, but the more I drink of this, the less hot it seems.
Oh,
I
there
may
you
just
go.
be getting used to it.
And that
John,
It's
cream
very
that-
peppery.
you're small on the screen. What's the answer to the question?
So it's
I
8
told you
years.
the answer to the question.
It's 8 years?
Listen, that's your problem.
Well, I can't read your phone.
Okay, 8 year, it's an 8-year-old rye, 66%.
This is what happens when John
rye,
gets all hopped up on the Dickel.
29% malted rye, 5% malted barley.
I swear to God, it's all downhill from 100.
Doesn't it hurt when you hop on the
118
Dickel?
proof.
What proof?
118.8.
So 59.4%.
Charles, where are they located?
They're
Frankfurt.
just outside of out of Lexington. They're kind of on the west side. So, yeah, near Frankfort, Kentucky.
Oh, wait a second, that wasn't the one that, yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, that's the one, John.
That's better.
They only had one rye.
That first breathe in though, I felt the alcohol
Yeah, there you go.
through my nose now.
You want these corks. They have, these things have the best corks. Holy shit.
The nose is pretty hot to me,
You'd kill somebody.
I have to say.
Well,
It's like a shot.
the silver label barrel have, they're heavy.
How come?
Yeah, probably my least favorite nose of the night. It is a little hot on the nose. The alcohol hits you.
Is it?
You took that first.
Is it 10 mile?
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah, yeah.
That 10-mile one is,
The 10 mile?
it's the new distillery that we visited down in June. They're gonna be carrying some of the whiskey. They got solid metal.
Oh, really?
They're like that.
Okay,
Oh, really?
we're gonna move on.
Solid
This
metal
can't be that.
embossed.
Can't be saving.
So this next bottle
Curtis.
This is so good.
sample is really, really special.
Very good.
So we know Barrel
I guess.
Craft Spirits. We've had a number of their bottlings over the year. There's a tiny bit in here. I think there might be some.
Did you get two?
Oh, no, but here.
The one we just did.
Yeah.
I got you.
So this is a very
Craft spirit.
allocated new, oh.
A little bit in there.
Yeah, here we go. Allocated new bottle. This is 16 years. So we just had an 8-year rye. This is 16 years. It's Canadian though. So hey, Hoser.
Hey.
So
How
this
many years is that in dog years?
too many. So Barrel Craft Spirits, they're located in Louisville. They do single barrels, of all different types of spirits, not just whiskey. They do rum. They do a lot of different things. Oh, Holly's joining us now. She must be home now. All right, so we're going to a very limited release. I'm going to read about this. All right, guys, you got to be quiet so everybody can hear. After completely falling for the inaugural release of Seagrass in 2021, hearing that Barrel Craft Spirits was going to include it in their Gray Label series, my excitement started building. This is from Breaking Bourbon. When they revealed it was going to feature a 16-year age statement, that excitement then started to boil. But there was no guarantee this was going to be an automatic winner based on its younger sibling. The standard Seagrass features a hybrid of ryes from Indiana, Tennessee, and Canada, while the Gray Label release is solely 16-year-old Canadian rye whiskey. The question remained, can Barrel make magic again with a different rye?
Yes.
The standard Seagrass is extremely bright and lively, yet adding age and the stronger oak influence is a tantalizing prospect. The apricot brandy influence is still front and center with the Gray Label release, but much less overpowering and better balanced. The inclusion of musty oak, plum, and an overall earthiness throughout makes for a much more layered and complex pour. The Gray Label release is arguably an improvement over the standard release, but at the same time, there's no denying the standard release's vibrance. And I've had the standard release Seagrass, and it is very good. Both are excellent pours, and there is a degree of personal preference as to which one will appeal more. So this is a very unique allocated, 16-year Canadian. Barrel, they go all over the place with their stuff. And they do a lot of Canadian whiskey as well. This one's 130.82 proof.
Oof.
All right, 16 years. Just think about that. 130.82. That is pretty amazing. It's a rye whiskey finished in Martinique rum, Madeira, and apricot brandy casks. So we got a lot going on there.
Yeah, the apricots really come through.
Yeah, especially on the finish.
Yeah.
The nose is very grassy, but the
Nose is very nice.
I get cherries and cinnamon on the palate, and then apricots and like earth on the finish. This is
This
This
is the
is
most
another
complex.
spectacular whiskey.
Yeah,
This
it's
is,
the most complex of the night. This is
this is one of the best ryes I've ever had.
Well, I thought I heard you say that once before tonight.
I did. I've had two of the best ryes I've ever had tonight.
Is this the
The
middle?
musty was the first thing that I added on the nose, but in a good way. Yeah, and the apricot's definitely there.
Yeah, so this one's not cheap. This is $229.99.
None of the gray labels are cheap.
Well,
This
it's
is
nice to
this is
know-
a very allocated gray label barrel.
But at least it's nice to know that we like it before the price.
Yeah.
You know, barrel craft spirits in general are pretty expensive. You know, they've been known to be a premium, you know, bottler. Basically, they don't distill. They buy barrels, they blend, and then they bottle. So they're blenders. They're very good at it, and they do charge a premium. Stellum is their kind of, you know, medium range price expression. You know, we had our single barrel of Stellum, which we sold out. You know, they get great barrels. There's no question about it. They know what they're doing. Actually, in our What's New tasting in a couple of weeks, we're doing a Stellum Rye. You know, so it'll be interesting to see how that pairs with everything else. But you know, they're very quality products. So when you have their special stuff, we have a couple of other bottles as well that are in the $200+ range. That's what it is. So you know, we've seen with like Found North, Canadian whiskey can be really good. It doesn't have to be $200+, but you know, it's usually when you're talking about 16 years or older,
It has all that,
you're going to be paying at least $140 to get access to
That's all that knows is bubble.
I mean, just look at Whistle Pig.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. I mean, look at their Boss Hog or look at their 18 year.
I'm getting everything 24. I love it.
You know, the Whistle Pig 18 year is going for like $300.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's good, but is it worth that? I don't know. I mean,
I'll take that over Boston.
I think I actually would take this over that personally. But,
yes.
The Whistle Pig, at least the stuff that's not their own juice, I think is mostly Alberta. Do we know where Barrel Craft got this from?
It's Canada, so
it's Canada. So it's
Rye
probably
Belt.
Alberta. You know, that's where most of the Canadian source whiskey
Right.
comes from.
This one's incredible. This one actually is almost bottle kill ready.
Yeah,
What is it, Davini? I can't read it.
it's the Boss Hog.
Boss Hog Magellan, number 7. Yeah, this is my brother got. This is a $600 bottle.
Yeah.
Honestly, this barrel stands right up to it, right head to head. I would say.
I mean, they're you know, I mean, think about it, right? We have Blanton's that's being sold for $100+ in most stores. We have a lot of these bourbons that are going for ridiculous amounts of money. You know, even the basic Wellers are going for so much money right now. Yet you have age statement Canadian whiskey that's really, really solid. That's going for probably a good market price. If you were to, if people who are buying Weller and some of these other things could do a taste test with some of these barrels, they would be, you know, surprised. You know, it's all about name and
Yeah,
all of that.
honestly, I wouldn't have spent $600 for that bottle. My
Yeah, I mean,
brother-
even the Whistle Pig Boss Hog. I mean, yes, it's good. Is it worth $500+?
No, and I didn't spend that money for it. My brother gets me a nice bottle for my birthday every year. And that
Yeah,
was
right.
actually his birthday.
Right. But Boss Hog's going for $500. That's the
Crazy.
basic.
That's their base.
That's the cheapest price you're going to find Boss Hog for. So, you know.
But
This is a
one
special
I'm
rye.
fine with it. I just don't want to finish it. It's incredible. Really nice.
And, yeah, this is superb.
But again,
That's
this
mind-blowing.
is what makes rye so unique, right? I mean, we all have kind of a general perception of what rye is. You know, it's a spice. You're going to have a bold, it's more bold than bourbon. You know, there's a lot of connotations for rye. You know, a lot of people don't like rye. You know, a lot of people stay away. We have a lot of people come into the shop. Rye is not my thing. And they haven't had a good rye. If they tasted something like this, they might think otherwise, or even our toasted rye. You know,
They probably don't like jalapeno either.
Hey, you never know. I mean, there is, but not all rye is hot and spicy though either. You know, so
No, but
and that was kind of my point, is that there's different types of rye. Especially when you're including malted rye, you know, like the last whiskey we had with the Whiskey Thief from Three Boys. When you add that malted, or the first whiskey we had, it makes it completely different when you have 100% malted rye.
I still have friends, if I offer them rye, they're like, you know, I still have a friend I can't get, no matter what I give him, he just will not. Rye is just not his thing, and sometimes you just.
It's like peated Scotch in a way. It's the American peated Scotch, right? You know, it's I've had a bad experience with rye. I don't want to go back.
Because one of my friends, his experience with rye is that's what the old men at the synagogue used to drink, and he used to sneak in as a kid and take a sip. So when he hears rye, he's like not too cool with that, you know.
Yeah.
One of the things I've enjoyed about getting to taste a lot of different bourbons is that there's so much variation. And I think there's even more variation in rye than there is in bourbon.
I agree. I mean, Matthew, when we were picking a barrel today from Cardinal, which is in Indiana, and you know, they're sourcing whiskey like everybody else, and you know, it's good stuff. You know, there's not a lot of great older barrels out there, right? So, you know, you kind of want to grab them while you can, because they're going to be gone, and then we're going to be dealing with really young stuff for a while. But when you ask what the mash bill is, it's always that same thing. It's that 70%, you know, 70-21 or 72-20, whatever it is. It's the Stellum mash bill, or it's the Tumble and Dice mash bill. You know, it's one or the other, right? And they're all different. There's no question, because they're barrels, but there's very little like differentiators besides the oak. And I don't know, with rye, it seems like there's a lot more differentiators, especially with the malted component. I mean, you don't hear about malted corn.
Well, you can't.
Right. I mean, so it's a whole nother ballgame when you're talking about rye. It's almost like barley, you know, because you can do a lot more things with it. And it's not easy to work with. That's why not a lot of people do rye. It's very messy.
Rye takes very well to age, though, I got to say, because I have a bottle of that Found North, and it's one of my favorites. And you know, this barrel of the Seagrass, 16 years old, takes very well to age the rye.
Yeah, I mean, the Canadian whiskey is fantastic. It's very underrated. It's not necessarily inexpensive, because you're paying for age.
But it has had a bad rep for many years. Canadian.
I mean, look at the Alberta Premium Cask Strength Rye. Oh my
God, it's so good.
Yeah, I have that here. This is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost 70%. It's way up there. But it's really good for what it is, and it doesn't taste that hot. All right, we're
Charles, one last question. I just don't remember what, I write everything else down, but the mash bill on this, do you
on
have
the
that?
Seagrass?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, it's undisclosed. They don't say.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, just in the interest of accuracy.
Yes.
The Canadian that Vinny mentioned in the synagogue was most likely Canadian Club.
Yes.
So it wasn't, it was called the rye, but it was a blend.
Yeah, and it was, my parents used it over the years. That and Seagram's was the big thing, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, my dad, you know, I introduced him to single malt Scotch. Before that, he would drink Ambassador 8-year-old. Wonder. That you could take paint off of furniture.
Okay, Charles.
We've got the one lag.
All right, we're gonna, so this last one, I hope I didn't go too fast for everybody. I know this is our 100th tasting. I'm not trying to get to 101 that quickly. You know, if I'm ever going too fast, say, hey, Charles, slow down. And I'm totally fine with that. I'm not going anywhere tonight, so.
What's 101?
What?
What's 101?
101.
Just in terms of feedback on that, both Ann and I actually have some whiskey in almost all the glasses to go back to. So I don't know if it's a function of the proof of these whiskeys, the speed, or it's just us and feeling frustrated we couldn't talk about that county. But no, I think the speed is fine.
Okay. Well, if anybody needs more time, just let me know. And I'm totally good with that. All right. So we're going to go to this last one. I didn't know much about laws until not too long ago. I had some laws, I think a few years ago, and I wasn't really impressed too much. And then we opened our shop, and we did have one of our distributors come in and bring us kind of the whole range of laws. And, you know, it's fine. It's like your core range, young craft whiskey, right? It's not bad, but is it something you want to have on your shelf?
No.
You know, to sip on every night? Probably not. So we kind of passed on the initial. Oh, thanks, Holly. We kind of passed on the initial, you know, laws experience, but I opened a box one day that was dropped off to the shop, and Holly had actually ordered some laws for one of her private tastings that she does, and we happened to get 2 bottles of their cask strength San Luis Valley rye whiskey, which is one of their more unique expressions. I didn't even know the distributor could get us this, but it showed up at our door. Occasionally that happens. It's either a mistake or they sent it to us because they wanted to prove a point. We're not sure, but we did get some big Japanese bottles just before Christmas from the A-Rye-Ve, just the traditional A-Rye-Ve, but they're monster 1.8 liter. I don't even know what. We still have 3 of them sitting on our front table, but those showed up randomly too. And I saw those. I took them out of the box, and I'm like, oh my God, I want these. You know, just because I want to look at them every day. I don't really care how great the whiskey is inside. I just want to stare at those monster Japanese bottles on the front table, and somebody will buy them. You know, you can go and make some great highballs at a party some point. And, you know, that's how we've sold 3 of them so far. We said, you just bring this to your next party and bring a bottle of soda water or tonic water and go at it, and get some ice and you're good. But these laws showed up, and Holly didn't want to use them for her tasting because they were really high proof. What's the ABV on this? You got it in your hand, Jake?
130.
65.7?
130.
All right, this one is 65.7%. So we're over 130. We're over 131 on this one. So pretty high. 131.4. This is a straight rye, so there's no age statement, but we know it's at least 2 years old.
It says at least 3 years.
Oh, it says at least 3 years old on the back. Okay, all right. So we know it's more than 2.
But
It's
a
at
straight
least
is
3.
2 years at least.
So laws is so Holly had some notes that she printed out for me. I don't know much about laws, but here's a little bit about Laws Whiskey House. They are all about heirloom grains, which are typically low yield, so very expensive to harvest. The main farms are Cody's in San Luis Valley and Onmacht in eastern Colorado. They have a bourbon, rye, malt, and wheat whiskey. They're in Boulder, outside of Littleton. And then Colorado, they have thin air temperature differentials. Founded in 2010. So they've been around 12 years.
Maybe it's because we worked up.
And the head distiller, Bill Friel, he was the doctor MD at Barton. Oh no, he was the master distiller at Barton. Doctor. I don't know Holly's codes. So yeah, he was the master distiller at Barton. So he came to Colorado, wanted to get out of Kentucky, started Law's Whiskey House, and here we are with their super high proof, young. I wanted to end the night with this because it was so high proof.
Take your palate right down. Boom. You want mine?
Pretty mellow for a high proof rye.
I'm not a fan. I'm not. But like you said, this is not a traditional.
Yeah, it's not that hot, but it's the finish is very short. I think that might just be due to the youth.
Is it? I'm not getting a short finish.
It's so sweet. It's just so sweet and mellow.
It's so chocolatey. I mean, for a rye, it's one of the most chocolatey ryes I think I've ever had.
You know, it reminds me of Mexican chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's more like what's the chocolate chewy chocolate candy?
Tootsie Roll.
Tootsie Roll. That's exactly right.
That is it.
But this has some. This has like a spice, a heat to it though. I'm getting more like a chipotle chocolate.
Yeah, but I think that's the rye and the alcohol rather than the flavor.
Oh, it's so good.
I guess the high alcohol reminds me of corn whiskey.
I agree with Shalom. But the finish
This is the vodka of ryes.
off a cliff.
Oh.
No, I take that back. That was not. I don't actually mean that.
You can't take
I
it.
actually like it.
It's being recorded.
No, that's why I took it back. Otherwise, I would have let it fly.
Fred Minnick.
I mean, Charles was really selling Laws at the beginning of this. He was really pumping you all up to how great Laws was, but I didn't know what to. I didn't know what to expect either. But between them and Leopold and some things that are going on in Colorado with all these heirloom grains and things like that, there seems to be this kind of earthy cocoa, dark chocolate trend going on in the Colorado newer whiskey scene, which I think is really interesting to follow. You know, down in Texas, you've got this barbecued meats and thick, you know, dirt and very, very thick style whiskeys. And I feel like Colorado's really playing on this earthier chocolate sort of cocoa theme.
Mole. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think mole is the right descriptor.
More. I get.
Well,
I get
No, I disagree with that. I understand where it comes from,
They have this.
but I mean, mole's got the reputation of being chocolatey, but chocolate's such a minor. I mean, there's so many different moles, and even mole poblano, which is the chocolate, supposedly chocolate mole, doesn't have much chocolate in it.
But I get. Okay, sorry.
But it is spicy. It does have chocolate. It's a tasty drab.
I actually really like this.
I do too.
No, there's mixed opinions on this one, but this one's hitting me right.
Just check out.
It's different too. I like the fact that it's not your your run-of-the-mill rye or whiskey, or it has its own character.
You say compared to the others, it's all right, you know.
But what I get is a taste, which is from wine tastings, I get a lot of minerality. I get a lot of the soil, the terroir. That's the flavor that I'm getting. I'm getting that rock, soil, This is a wonderful taste. This is just great.
It's pretty amazing.
This is really a nice one to finish on.
Lovely.
Go Laws, what a sleeper hit. And to think we were going to turn it away. We were like, nah, look at that ABV. It's too high. We have to keep it. That's what we said.
You know your audience.
I not believe it's that high in ABV. It doesn't drink like that at all.
No, it doesn't. I agree.
It's a category of dangerous.
And what is the price on this?
We have one bottle left. It's $85.99, so not cheap, but it's very unique. You know.
Charles, we have one in stock and we can't get on. Can you save it for us, please?
What's that?
We have one in stock and we can't get on your website. So please save it for Ann and Peter.
For the Laws?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just bought it.
No, you didn't.
And you.
I scooped up the last new Riff, so I'm good.
How is it you couldn't get on the website?
Of the Laws. I'm hopeful.
It's $85, I think.
It's 85?
Yeah.
Well,
You have to
we're
have
older than you are.
You have to have two computers if you're going to be doing these tastings with First Fill Spirits.
Come on, we're sitting with two phones, an iPad, and we're on an iMac. Give me a break.
The Mac
I'm insulted.
The Mac would have done it instantly, well, as fast as it reacts. But since I was watching all you nice people on the screen, I couldn't get to the website.
It's gonna be like trying to sign up for a tasting. You gotta have your finger on the button.
Yeah, I know.
Is that you?
Oh, boy, we
Maybe
just.
Jen will give you a taste.
That's all right. I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up. Whatever I have is here to taste.
Wait, who got this bottle?
I didn't get this one. I took the new Riff.
Matthew said he got the bottle. No? No, okay, so maybe we're okay.
Maybe.
It's between our birthdays, so, you know, we deserve it.
Birthday.
It's between our birthdays, yes. It's always between our birthdays. Every day is between our birthdays.
One way or another.
I bought it. I know.
Gotta get some kind of sympathy around here. I don't know. You guys are tough.
Hey, things are getting better, Ann and Peter. We still got an open date at the bar for you guys.
Or at all.
Oh, okay, we
Yes,
should do
yeah.
that. We
Hey,
did,
man, just text me.
I agree, Matt, that if this were presented as part of the what do you call it, Advent calendar, this would have wreaked havoc.
You would have not been right.
0 points. For
I agree.
I might have gotten the alcohol as 58 or above.
I think the alcohol might have played a possible point.
Possible, but even there, it doesn't.
I don't know about rye. That would have been tough.
It doesn't drink
age
like
statement,
such a high alcohol.
Age statement might have been okay because, I mean, this is one of those where they don't say on the front of the bottle how old it is, but on the back they do. So I don't know. I probably would have.
I missed it. What was the age?
3. It says.
3 years. At least 3 years.
No,
Got it.
at least. So.
Yep.
Is that a non-age statement or is that a 3-year?
That's a non-age statement.
Yeah.
Someone
So,
buy that, Charles?
what's that?
Someone reserve that or buy that?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just
great
saying,
tasting.
Show them buy this.
Yeah, so this was a lot of fun.
A worthy one for the number 100.
We made it to 100.
We did.
You know, these tastings have been a lot of fun. I mean, we have all sorts of tastings coming up. I'm trying to, you know, it's not just shop stuff. It's obviously it's a lot of. I can't wait to get on the road again and bring back special bottles. I mean, this tasting had a lot of that. So we have the Woodinville, we have the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, and the Whiskey Thief from Three Boys. But that's my goal, is I want to keep it, you know, fresh. And, you know, we have a lot of new members and we're still taking on new people as well. So, you know, if you have people that you know.
Can I ask you a question about that? I mean, I've been away for a couple of months and back in the hunt, so this is good. What's happening with the store in terms of interstate shipping? Is that in the future possible,
Well,
or is that
for
never?
New Hampshire, it's definitely one of the early next phase states because New Hampshire is easy for us. A lot of other states are not easy. So you
good.
are very close to being a possibility. That's probably going to be one of the first states that we focus on expanding to. So
Rich's daughter will be very disappointed because the way it works now is Rich picks up anything for me,
yes,
sends it to his daughter in Boston, and I go to Boston and pick it up from her.
And she
All right, where in New
grumbles
Hampshire
all
are
the
you?
way.
I'm in Durham. What'd you say, Rich?
Over the border.
She grumbles all the way too. Not to you, but to him.
so Holly,
You eat, don't buy her lunch because it is the middleman? Sorry,
Oh, no, no, no,
middlewoman?
no. Are you kidding? No, we bring her all kinds of goodies. She
They do.
grumbles. No, she grumbles to Rich. She never grumbles to
so
us.
Holly has talked for a long time about all of the people that she knows in Massachusetts that have, summer homes or places up in New Hampshire, that's where all the whiskey gets sent because they can't send it to Massachusetts. So, we're gonna figure that out. It's gonna be one of our first states.
Hey, listen, I'm willing to be the center point. You can ship it to me and the Massachusetts people can come visit me.
All right.
Do we still want to be recording this? I don't know.
So how many people here remember the old Benson and Hedges commercials for the cigarettes that were a millimeter longer, Benson and Hedges 101?
Still
So
a
the next
millimeter.
tasting-
It's a
Next
silly
tasting on
millimeter.
Tuesday is a milliliter longer because it's 101.
Whoa. And next Tuesday is also Matthew's birthday.
It's also Mardi Gras.
Ah,
Right, that's right.
Well, Marty is not a member, but
Yeah, so we are gonna have a few people here at the shop if you're signed up for next Tuesday. We're gonna try and order some Mardi Gras stuff from Hattie's. I don't know how easy that will be to do.
Well, I talked to them on the phone already about that. They said, don't place the orders now, but maybe, I don't know, maybe this weekend we should find out how many people are going to be in the shop and we can get an order list together.
All right.
My two nephews work at Hattie's, and I know the owner, so maybe I could, you need help. I might be.
It might be a little tough, so we'll have.
Vinny, make him an offer.
Right. I have my hand raised, so
I know
I'm cleaning out my basement and I have stuff from my daughter's bat mitzvah still in the basement. You don't have to order anything. I will be up. There are things, there are like, I have like 25,000 things for, like glasses, you name it. I would love to bring it,
not
please.
food.
Not
We were
food.
talking about food and not about clothing.
Last year's Mardi Gras I spent at Hattie's. I was there. That was.
But I mean, but you need to wear that stuff too.
Shalom, we might have some food left over from our daughter's bat mitzvah in 1997, but still, I think that you're better off with the head boppers.
Well, we don't want kimchi. We want Cajun cuisine.
All right, I'm gonna stop the recording.
That's a good idea.
She gave me the offer to do